Kitco Mining special coverage of the Deutsche Goldmesse is brought to you by Faraday Copper.
South 32 is spending $1.7 billion to build a mine beside Barksdale Resources project Sunnyside. I am with the CEO, Rick Trotman. How you doing, Rick?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Talk about Sunnyside. What is that project?
Yeah, Sunnyside is our flagship asset in Arizona. As you mentioned, it's right next door to something that's quite incredible. Our neighbors are building a very big mine on a resource that effectively ends at our property boundary. So what we're looking to do is get our permits for drilling and get in there to see how much of this world-class asset is actually sitting on our side of the fence.
Bring us up to date. What's the work that you've done on the project and what have you found?
Yeah, so we've had it for a number of years now. Most of it's been permitting related, but we have done a significant soil and rock chip sampling program to identify feeder structures. We've done some NSAMT geophysical work, trying to kind of pin down the targets that we'll drill once we have these permits.
Now, that's a Hermosa that South 32 is working, the Hermosa mine, is that correct?
It's the Hermosa project, yeah.
Hermosa project, correct. Yeah. So is what they've modeled out, does that look, I guess that looks similar with what you're finding, trends that you're finding over on Sunnyside?
Yeah, so there's a historical vein system that kind of crops out on their side of the fence and our side of the fence. And then those vein structures go down to where the Paleozoic carbonates are at depth, and that's where they blow out into mantos and skarn systems, adjacent to a very large porphyry that's on our side of the fence. And so they are effectively doing all of the drilling down in the manto part of the system, a little further away from the porphyry, and that's where they've built their 140 million ton resource.
Talk about the permitting right now. That's going okay?
Depends on how you define okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're on U.S. Forest Service administered federal mining claims, and so it's quite a process to get through. The good thing is that we are closer to the end of the tunnel than the beginning of the tunnel.
Yeah.
We will hopefully have our permits here in the near term, and we should be drilling in 2023.
Community relations around you?
Community is fine. Yeah, they're. It's an interesting group, mix of ranchers and kind of retirees from California. So it's a hodgepodge of people from all over the place, but generally good people. Our endeavors in the community have been in place for 3 or 4 years. We have a little office there. We have a community relations manager who gets out and talks to people on a daily basis. So yeah, I think the community is not only benefiting from the amount of money that South 32 is putting into the town and the county itself, but once they start adding more and more permanent positions next door, it should really change the demographic towards a really strong mining-friendly place.
How do these scenarios play out in the past, where you have a project that is right beside a larger mine, where you have something that would have a resource that would be able to grow out the existing mine? How do those types of scenarios proceed usually? Usually
there's consolidation.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's something significant, there's usually consolidation. There are the odd ducks out there that never get consolidated, but it's either because they don't have anything of significance on the other side, or because there's some issue or poor relationship that's hindering things. But usually it's a consolidation effort at some point.
Tell me about the other project, Javier.
Yeah, San Javier down in Mexico. Yeah, that's our copper gold system that we have. We did a drilling program, in 2021, to go in, confirm, and see if we can really get a better handle on how the mineralization presents itself at that deposit. So we did that. It was a great program. We should have a resource out on that here in the next couple of weeks, kind of our maiden resource. There's been historic ones that were done in the past that were not of great quality. And so this one should kind of put a line in the sand, show everyone where the starting point is for us to move forward on that asset.
Lastly, Rick, milestones over the next 12 months.
Yeah, so the milestones will be permitting related up in Arizona, getting the Sunnyside permit, drilling of the San Antonio project up in Arizona, which is just a couple of kilometers away from Sunnyside, where we have a porphyry target, drilling at Sunnyside itself, and then the resource at San Javier.
Rick, thanks for telling the story.
Thanks for having me.
My name is Michael McRae. You're watching Kitco Mining's coverage of Deutsche Goldmesse here in Frankfurt.
Kitco Mining special coverage of the Deutsche Goldmesse is brought to you by Faraday Copper.